Once upon a time, there lived an Italian woman named Leonarda Cianciulli. She fell hard for a man, but her mother did not approve of their relationship. Once she got married to him, her mother cursed her marriage. This supposed curse seemed to be even more real when a fortune teller told Leonarda that her children will become sick and die. But the real trigger that led Leonarda to do the unthinkable was when one of her sons informed her that he will be joining the army in World War II. He was her oldest and dearest son, and she could not fathom what would happen to him since he would already be placed in such a dangerous setting. She believed in this superstition because her life followed a domino of tragedies. She experienced, for example, 3 miscarriages, and 10 of her children died due to sickness already. Furthermore, her house got destroyed due to an earthquake, and she was incarcerated due to fraud. On top of all that, she was experiencing seizures and hallucinations. Coincidence? Even someone who doesn't believe in superstitions can see how these events appear unusual. It's not surprising to me that she believed the curse was real. Her natural motherly instincts were driven to protect her children, but the way she went about doing that was quite haunting and horrific. She believed that the only way that she can protect her remaining children was to sacrifice humans. Her way of sacrificing these humans was quite unusual. I mean, she didn't just kill them. She deliberately and meticulously crafted homemade soaps and even tea cakes made from their bodies. Cakes which she fed to guests and even herself. These disgusting and dehumanizing acts occurred between 1939 to 1940. All of her targets were middle-aged women, and Leonarda even documented in her future memoirs very specific details of each of her victims' fates. Leonarda had established herself as a respectable and kind individual in her hometown, so she knew that her reputation was clean. This in turn would give her a step up in manipulating people and luring them into her traps. This individual carefully chose who she wanted to kill. It was not just anyone. She chose middle-aged women specifically who were living alone and had no immediate family. In her erratic mind, that would be ideal because no one would notice if they went missing. Not only was she looking for women who were single and living alone, Leonarda also went as far ahead to make sure their life goals went in line with what she was looking for. And all 3 of the women said that they hoped to live a fulfilling life outside of the city they were in. So the city they were all in right now is Correggio, Italy. So single, not many connections, and wishing to just leave the city. That would make them the perfect victims. So when they go missing, the few people that did know them would just assume they left. Her first victim then was Faustina Setti. Faustina was a spinster and she had no immediate family. Leonarda, who worked as a fortune teller, tricked Faustina in a very twisted way. She told her that she discovered her future husband, who would be the perfect match for her, but he resided in a totally different city. Leonarda instructed Faustina not to tell anybody that she was leaving and to just write a letter telling everyone why she left, for a vague reason. What happens next is just really, really disgusting. Before the woman embarked on her trip to see the imaginary future husband, she stopped by Leonarda's to pay her for helping her. So she actually gave her entire life savings, probably worth approximately $530 at that time. And Leonarda handed her some wine to celebrate the event. This wine was poisoned, and unbeknownst to Faustina, she drank it and passed out immediately. Leonarda went straight to action. Just to make sure she was really dead, she attacked her again with an axe. She then took the body into another compartment where she sliced it into 9 pieces. She drained all of her blood in a separate bowl, letting it sit out. Leonarda seemed to know her chemicals very well. She mixed all of the flesh with a strong chemical called lye, which is highly soluble in water and produces caustic basic solutions. Mixing the flesh with the lye caused the flesh to obtain a mushy consistency. She dumped the solution into a septic tank and then into the waste. Gruesome, I know. But it does not end there. She then used her cooking skills, so that blood she let out to cool became cold and thick, perfect for placing into the oven for drying. The purpose of doing that was to transform the blood into a powder. She incorporated this red powder in her tea cake recipe, where she kneaded it specifically with other ingredients such as flour, eggs, and sugar. The end product was a crunchy cake that Leonarda served to visitors and family alike. She herself ate it, and all was eaten within a couple of days. This was not enough. Leonarda was driven to kill even more individuals, either for protecting her children from other potential dangers or just for the cold-blooded thrill of killing people. Her next victim was Francesca Soavi, and this woman was really just looking for a job. Similar to the first victim, Leonarda tricked the woman into believing that her perfect job was located in a totally different city, specifically in a school. She convinced her not to tell anyone that she was leaving and to just write a vague letter saying that she was just moving from Correggio. Once the woman made her final stop at Leonarda's to pay her dues, she faced a similar fate as the first victim by being poisoned, sliced up, and turned into food. Now, Leonarda's final victim, Virginia Cacioppo, differed from the other two, but for a very sinister reason. She was well known for her amazing singing voice, and as an opera singer, she was said to have performed in big-name theaters including Piazza della Scala. She was looking for work, though, and Leonarda tricked her into believing there was a secretarial position in some other city. She followed the same protocol where she told her victim not to tell anybody where she was leaving, to write a letter. Then on the last visit, snatching the most money from her compared to the other two victims. So when she brutally drugged her, axed her into 9 pieces, she actually switched it up this time when she noticed something different about Virginia's body. Once she mixed Virginia's flesh with the lye chemical, the end result was extra fatty. This gave her twisted mind more creative ideas. Instead of dumping it like she usually would do, she boiled it this time, boiled her flesh, and added some scents to it to create soaps, which she distributed to people. In her own memoir, Leonarda described Virginia's blood as especially sweet when describing the taste of the tea cakes that she made from her body. Her wicked and horrific crimes would come to light soon. Virginia, her final and sweetest victim, would also be the reason she would be caught. Virginia wasn't really solo in life, and when she disappeared, her sister-in-law would be a key witness. She would be the only person to have seen Virginia enter Leonarda's house but never leave it. and she immediately informed the local authorities. Despite her intricate efforts in discarding the bodies, Leonarda was targeted. She didn't confess outright to anything until they started pointing fingers at her dearest son, which prompted her to immediately confess to everything. Hauntingly, she seemed to discuss her gruesome actions in a very nonchalant and matter-of-fact way, so much so that during her own trial in 1946, she even corrected prosecutors when they got a detail wrong. Clearly, she wasn't remorseful at all, and the judge found her guilty for all 3 murders. She was sentenced to 30 years and 3 extra years to serve in an asylum. In 1970, she died while still in the asylum due to a brain hemorrhage. The details of her case were so unique, ghoulish, and beyond comprehension that the kitchen tools she used to kill and cook those 3 women were put on display in a museum. Do you think it was the alleged curse that drove her down this path of further troubles, or that there was no such curse at all and she was just this delusional person, or an individual who was just cold-blooded? Yeah, she wanted to protect her kids, so she says, but her intentions have to be more sinister than that. Like, she had to have some high level of disregard for human life. I mean, these were women with hopes, dreams, ambitions, and she knew that. And given her abusive upbringing, there definitely has to be more factors that led up to this person doing all of this. Like, something happened. That doesn't excuse any of this, though. Don't get me wrong. If it wasn't for that one relative of one of those victims, I truly think she would have never been caught and would have continued to kill more vulnerable women, developing not just a sick killing obsession, but even more ways to use their bodies to create these things even beyond cakes and soaps. So what can we learn here? Don't trust strangers, and definitely don't go somewhere without telling anyone else where you're going. I hope you all found this video informative, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting content.